The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or Internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Another story that's going to make a lot of you mad. In fact, any of you who live within 60 miles, 50 miles of a nuclear power plant, there are, I think, 103 reactors in the U.S. Any of you living within a 60-mile radius are being exposed 24 hours a day to radioactive emissions, and you're breathing, inhaling, eating, drinking this stuff. They won't tell you. It's the truth. One of the big stories in the last year, of course, was the shutdown of San Onofre in Southern California. San Diego, right on the beach. Right on the beach. You know, the plant where the surfers like to surf because the water is warm, where they exchange and pull in the seawater to cool the reactor and all that? That's the one. They shut it down, right? Not quite. Yeah, it's shut down, but we got big problems. And thanks to people like Darin McClure, a citizen scientist, a community activist, a hero, really, and those he has organized and works with, shoulder to shoulder, to try to bring the truth out, the people of San Diego have a chance to avoid, now get this one, you ready? Southern California Edison, the big power company, which owns San Onofre, is now burying 3,600,000 pounds of highly radioactive waste 100 feet from the ocean in thin tin cans. Oh, they're steel, but we call them tin cans. This is just one of the things going on there. This is beyond outrageous. It's not like a lot of people don't know that the Pacific Ocean is already dead. 90% dead. Looks like Southern Cal Edison wants to finish the job off, certainly in San Diego and down to Baja and wherever else the currents would push this stuff. It's crazy. These steel cans will rot in no time at all, just being around the salt air. Just think about that. Those of you who live near the beach, you'll understand. But let's say hello to Darin McClure right now. And first of all, thank you, Darin, for all you've done for all of us who care.
Wow, I'm really humbled by your introduction, Jeff. Thank you. That's a great synopsis of what's going on here and just south of us here in San Clemente today.
Yeah, nuts. I mean, I used to surf at Trestles, Swami's, and it's beautiful beaches down there. It's a Gold Coast.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And we don't surf at San Onofre because it's warm. We surf there because the waves are good.
There you go.
That's why we surf there.
Yeah, this whole thing. Let's tell our listeners basically what the current official status of the plant is. It is undergoing decommission. Has it been judged decommissioned so far? Where are we?
Well, we're decommissioning. And when you have all this spent nuclear fuel and these fuel rods and the spent fuel pools that have been 4 times over capacity filled by Southern California Edison.
Oh, don't jump past that. Wait a minute. The in-ground spent nuclear fuel pools are 4 times beyond capacity.
They're not in the ground. They're up in the air so they can move the stuff back and forth between the reactors. So these spent fuel pools are kind of like, up in the air in these unhardened buildings. It's a whole
not quite as insane as the Mark I design that Fukushima was, where they put it 5-6 stories off the ground and in steel swimming pools up there where they can't do much with it.
Kind of the same thing that's going on. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The insanity of this is incalculable. I really can't believe that human beings of normal genetic history on this planet would ever do anything this dumb. But they continue to do it. There's no stop. All right,
let's talk about the fuel they used there was stuff called high burnup, so that they could run the reactor just a little bit longer and get a few more $1 million out of it. And instead of making really, really nasty waste, it's really, 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 really nasty waste. With the Southern California Edison engineers have told me has a half-life of 300,000 years.
That's all, huh?
Now, 1 day of power is never worth 500,000 years of nuclear slavery to this waste. I mean, it's just amazing. We're going to need like a Knight Templar of nuclear waste where we teach our greatest grandchildren how to, keep this stuff safe.
Well, you're assuming we're going to have any grandchildren. I hope we do.
I'm sure hope. I'm not really thinking about the other option there. I like to give the people hope, Jeff. I don't want everybody to.
We all
worrying about it. Let's just blow it up.
We all have that right to have hope, but we have to mix it with reality and pragmatically. And what the situation is utterly intolerable. I don't understand what or who is running Southern Cal Edison. I used to be a customer. I'm from Santa Barbara, and I know what's going on. But this is beyond belief. Tell us what they're doing with all this weight. Now, are these actually the spent fuel rods from this storage capacity that's 400% beyond its design? Yeah. Okay. So what are they doing? Cutting up these 12-foot bundles into pieces? What are they doing?
This is gonna repeat across the nation as these nuclear waste generating stations go out of business. All the spent nuclear fuel that they've ever produced is still sitting on site. Okay, so they're becoming de facto nuclear waste dumps.
Right.
And they're trying to get the storage of this stuff as when they close them down to save some money instead of having people taking care of the spent fuel pools and making sure it stays safe and in order to actually keep
but as you said, they only have to take care of the spent fuel pools for 300,000 years. That's no problem. Not at all.
I know. No, that's the half-life, so it's actually 600,000 plus. So let's, when they talk about
I'm having a little fun here. Look, figure it out. When you think about
it's ridiculous.
Seriously, 300,000 years, I want people to be able to grab onto it, and then we double it, tell them the truth. It's really double. And we're not, come on. There'll have to be technology if we are going to survive on this planet. And you'll notice that Darin called it a nuclear waste generating plant, not a nuclear power generating plant. It's a nuclear waste generating plant, which is absolutely apropos. So what we have here is utterly organized insanity and slow burn genocide or more. And we're getting to the point now where it's not just humans. We know what Fukushima has done. You've seen the dead animals on the shore, I'm sure, far too many times to want to even talk about. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse unless. And what's the unless here? Tell us what has to happen, Darin. What do you have to accomplish?
What I think needs to happen, if we were doing here what they were doing in Fukushima, was putting this stuff into thick-walled casks and not thin-walled cans. A thick-walled cask has multiple layers of defense, multiple things that can go wrong. We're talking this stuff is a can that's the thickness of a dime.
How can this be? How can this be?
Stainless steel. Well, it just keeps getting worse, because when I was at the community engagement panel meeting, telling them about nuke radiation monitoring, we heard from Tom Polisano, the head of decommissioning at San Onofre, that the first 4 cans that they dumped in the ground at San Onofre on an earthquake fault in a tsunami zone at the high tide water line, okay, the first 4 cans had defective experimental shims, and they're not really sure what's going on. When he was asked by the head of the community engagement panel, well, why didn't you guys just put them back in the pools and, fix your mistakes? At which point Mr. Polisano stated, no one in history has ever opened one of these nuclear waste cans. We expect that it would take us between 1 and 3 years to be able to figure it out. What he's saying is that's how long it would take to build a hot cell big enough on site to fix anything that were to go wrong, because these cans heat up to about 300 to 400 degrees C. And we know that water boils at 100 degrees C. So there's no way for them even to put these cans back in the spent fuel pools and to fix their mistakes.
Okay, hold on. These, how big are these? Like 55-gallon drum size?
No, like they're the length of the spent fuel rods, which are like 19 feet long.
You got
they're
longer.
Like
some are 12. So yours are 19. So you got a long 19-foot long can. They're actually inserting the entire bundle in there, I guess, then, huh?
They're inserting like 24 bundles in there.
Oh, these are big cans, and they're as thick.
These are big cans.
They're as thick as a dime. Now that sounds like 18-gauge automobile steel, about like a fender on a car.
It's warranted for 20 years.
Oh, come on! Oh
and
my
on
God!
Concrete that was warranted for 10 years.
Oh my God! So they're digging a hole for a 20-foot long, 20-plus foot long can. Give me the other dimensions.
That's going to be air-cooled at the ocean, where stainless steel can have through-the-wall cracking in, a few years.
Yes.
In a saltwater and car environment. And if anybody's ever driven by San Onofre Nuclear Waste Generating Station, they would notice that it's right next to a big freeway, the 5, the main artery in Southern California.
Yeah, you can inhale and smell the neutrons. Here's the deal. They're digging holes and putting 20-foot long. How thick are they? What's the diameter of these things?
They're pretty big. They're like, I'd hate to give you the measurements because I don't know off the top of my head, but they're bigger than a regular oil drum. They're large.
Mm-hmm. Well, the spent fuel rods are not. They're like your pinky or something. They're small. The actual.
Yeah, about the size, the diameter, not bigger than that, probably your finger, and they're clad in zirconium. Okay,
right.
And the reason they keep them underwater is to keep that fuel cladding from hitting the air and bursting into flame.
Yeah.
So we're either keeping them underwater or in an inert gas in these cans.
Okay,
so that's what people have to understand.
They put them in the cans, and they put some kind of an inert gas in the can, and then seal the can, and dig a hole at the beach, and bury these bury these things.
As they were pouring the concrete, they had to suck the water out as it was draining in from the water table. And, and the bad news is this is on the footprint of where Unit 1 was located, where, so if you have a nuclear disaster, isn't it just easier to cover it up with another nuclear disaster? I mean, the criminality that is taking place at this,
Oh, it's mass murder. I'm sorry. It's worse than criminality. It's inhuman, in my view. How many of these cans are scheduled to be buried to contain 3,600,000 pounds of highly radioactive spent fuel rods? How many cans? What are we talking about?
If you go to Google Maps, you can look down and see what's going on there. There's already 50 plus cans that were built in the original nuclear waste dump there. This is the new and improved experimental nuclear waste dump at San Onofre. This is just more of a bad thing. This is where the California Coastal Commission has given this permit based on the fact that they could, fix one of these cans, which again is not.
You mean, how are they going to fix one of the cans if they rust through and crack? What are they talking about?
At this point, there's not even enough. There's, the people that are making these cans have told people in our town that, well, if one starts leaking, we will call the manufacturer and we'll manufacture a bigger can just to Russian doll it into.
So they're going to dig down and pull this leaking can out and stick it in a bigger one and seal that up.
Yeah.
Oh, very clever.
It's not on fire or critical.
Well, of course. Critical mass, if it's exposed to the air, come on. 400 C, that's the temperature. 400
Between
Celsius.
300 and 400. That's and these cans are cooling in the air, so like right at the beach.
They're not cooling. Inside the can is 300 to 400 Celsius. So it's not cooling at all.
It will be 300 to 400 Celsius for the next 4,000 or 5,000 years.
These people are criminals. They really are. They're inhuman criminals, and they should all be locked up. They're all doing it because they have jobs and they got mortgages. Same old crap. But if these were human beings, they would walk away. They would have nothing to do with this.
I don't know what happened to our little brothers, Jeff. I think they may have been dropped on their heads as in use.
No, there's a lot of those out there, useful idiots. I
just don't know. But again,
okay.
Let's not give the people no hope.
No, how many of these cans though? I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, there's 52 already there. They're putting in 72 more. Each one of these cans is filled with a Chernobyl worth of radiation. So what's 70 plus 50?
120. 120 Chernobyls being buried at the beach at San Onofre.
Yep.
And the city fathers are doing what? Taking their bribe money, sticking it in their back pocket, and smiling and voting and saying yes.
They're worried about a toll road. They're telling the people of my town, look over here, this toll road. We have to stop this toll road. It'll ruin the town.
All misdirection. I get it. Yeah, sure.
Are all about toll roads and plastics and crazy shit like that.
Unbelievable. Now, they did pull some big pieces of machinery out of at least one of the reactors there and trucked it off up to Idaho or somewhere. That was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the steam generator that got moved out. But the core is still sitting right there on site. It's still sitting there right next to the current experimental nuclear waste dump. And I'm calling it the wrong thing, Jeff, because SoCal Edison got it labeled as a medical waste site for insurance purposes. So
what?
That now they only need $50 million worth of liability insurance. If anything else goes wrong, the taxpayers will take care of it. And we only need one guard and a gun and 2 administrators to write his check for in perpetuity, basically. They're doing this on the cheap.
One guard, one gun. Is the
one
duty?
Guard, one gun.
That's the duty profile for security?
For a medical waste dump here in
I got it. I got it. Very clever. Very clever. So they call it medical waste.
Nice?
Very clever. Wow.
There's a lot of medical waste.
It doesn't get any worse than this. They took
$4 billion from ratepayers to pay for the decommissioning of San Onofre. they're doing this on the cheap, and they're
oh my God.
It's just incredible.
$4 billion. There's no such thing as a fully decommissioned plant. They always need constant maintenance, care. People don't understand that because they're leaving nuclear waste on site in most of them.
It's not cleaned up. It's moved around and pushed on some other poor soul someplace else in the world that wasn't smart enough to say, no, don't bring it to my town.
God, I'm so sorry. This is really awful to hear. All right, so
okay,
tell me more. Go ahead.
We got to give people hope, okay? We got to point out people like Ace Hoffman that are talking about ways that are patented ways to make the waste less deadly, like for only 600 years, say. Only 3 times the length that our country.
Or can they can transmute the actual atomic structure into something less harmless?
It's patented. It turns it into something that's less harmless, not going to be a dirty
That's
bomb.
harmful.
So
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Ace Hoffman, Google him. He's an incredible human. So.
Well, that's always been the case. And I think that these people who were behind the splitting of the atom for power and peace, remember that? I think that's what they've been waiting on, is somebody to come up with a viable technology to transmute this deadly waste that'll hang around for over 500,000 years into something innocuous and essentially harmless. We'll get there if we survive long enough. That'll happen.
If we survive long enough. Yeah,
right.
Too cheap to meter my donkey.
Right. Wow.
Just
okay. So you are involved with a number of different things, Darin. We got a break coming up here.
Guy.
You are very busy. And if you look on the homepage, in the guests section, look under Darin's name. We've got some things to look at and so forth, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes. How active is your group? How much real power and real pressure do you think you have to bring to bear on the useless governments that are in your communities?
All we have is the truth, Jeff. All we have is people out there like Donna Gilmore looking for information and putting together, connecting the dots that's led us to believe that this stuff is so much more dangerous than anyone is letting on. And we got to stand up and do something about it. Like I said, if they were putting this stuff in casks, not cans, I probably wouldn't be having this battle with my local utility, because I would know that, at least if something was going on, they could fix it or find out what was going on with it.
Right.
But at this point, I'm setting up a radiation monitoring network.
Very good. All right, we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes with Darin McClure down in the San Diego area, trying, along with some other really heroic citizen scientists and citizen activists, to stop this outrage. Another one. And every nuclear power plant in this country is, I think, virtually all of them, right now operating beyond their original intended lifespan. But we'll get to that and more in just a minute. Hang on. Okay, welcome back. Talking with Darin McClure. What's your hometown? San Clemente?
San Clemente, California.
Anything?
Richard Nixon.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Is anything down there about Richard Nixon still? His home or anything?
There's his house. The Western White House is still here. I think it's for sale for $1 billion. But
yeah,
I'm not really in the market this week. I'm fighting to save the world.
Yeah, I would say you certainly are. Are you getting any ink in the media? Is the news media being friendly to you and your colleagues?
Well, I think that's kind of an interesting question, because most of the Joe Q publics that listen to the mainstream media and not shows like yours are hearing that the waste is moving away from San Onofre. It's the biggest piece of fake news I think I've seen in a long time. I'm just experiencing it, from the radio to the TV to the newsprint. The waste is moving away. And
yes, where is it moving to, Darin?
No one wants it. No one wants it.
It's not moving anywhere. They're burying it in the beach, for God's sakes. This
Imagine
is
if
madness.
you were in tin cans. Imagine if you were, somebody that we were asking to send this stuff to, and they see how badly we store it around in our own backyard.
Right.
What are we going to send it to them with a prettier bow? It's lunacy. It's just lunacy.
Does anyone talk about the death of the Pacific Ocean down there? I'll get back to your mainline stuff of radioactive monitoring stations. But do people understand that the Pacific Ocean is essentially dead compared to what it was?
I don't know what people understand. They're so busy just trying to make ends meet that they don't even have time to
well, that's
really
the game.
deal
Keep
with
them stressed and absolutely. Then they won't do it.
When I talk about stuff like this with my friends, I don't get invited back to parties. No one wants to dance to Armageddon.
Good point, Darin. I understand. You'll lose a lot of friends. They don't want to hear it. That guy's bad news. He's negative.
Especially the ones that are, getting funding from that same golden goose that's laying that radioactive egg.
Of course. It's amazing how everybody has a price, isn't it? And it's usually pretty damn cheap when you think about the consequences of the other side of the coin.
Those people eat in this town.
Yeah, I know.
But we have to demand thick caps and an on-site hot cell and radiation monitoring 24/7 that's publicly visible by anybody who wants to see it at any time.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
and let's transparency. Let's keep everybody honest.
Because keep most people on.
When San Onofre got shut down, and they leaked because they were trying to make more money by doing a little update to their steam generators. When they leaked, they waited 17 days to tell the public that leak was actually radioactive. And then they said in the most scientific terms that this was a small leak.
I remember the lies. Right under Darin's name is a link called Photo. I'd like all of you to please click on that so you can see what we've been yammering about here. You're going to see these tin cans. I guess they pour a concrete slab and then place these in nice, neat little geometric rows on the concrete. Are they going to cover them?
They're gonna have like little caps on them so that the air can circulate, because they can't let them get too hot, right? They got to cool. But nobody notices that it's right there on a beach where they're no longer taking care of the tsunami wall because, well, they're not a nuclear waste generating station anymore. They're just a medical waste site now.
Oh, so the really wall's beginning to decay too.
The whole beach is eroding away. Dog Patch, the end of the road at San Onofre. Old man San Onofre is one of the best waves around for old guys like me on a longboard. Okay?
Oh yeah, oh sure.
And the end of the road, they've lost already 50 or 60 parking spots because of erosion.
Wow.
So it's absolute lunacy.
Sad. Do you surf there?
I do. I was there Thanksgiving. I deep fried a turkey and surfed all day. It was a wonderful time.
Good for you. I used to have what did I have? I had a Yater, 9.7 Yater. I had a 9.6 White Owl. There was somebody named, boards named White Owls. Velzy, I had a Velzy Jacobs. Those are fun.
Right
fun.
Fun. What do you? Velzy was an old timer from around here in San Clemente. Lives up the street.
What do you ride? How big's your board?
I have a local shaper that makes stuff for me. The Big Kook. I ride very large surfboards for a very skinny gentleman that I am.
What do you ride? 10-footers?
I weigh like 140 pounds soaking weight, and I've got everything from 10.6 to 6 foot.
Well, you got a fun board collection. Good for you. All right, now let's. We've looked at the picture, the photo. Now let's go back and look under Darin's name. The second one is called Solarcast from safecast.org. All right, Solarcast. Click on that link. That's the one right under photo. You'll have to actually click on the right-hand side of it, the Solarcast or safecast.org link. And let's go to that. We'll pull that page up. So tell us what we're going to be looking at here. It's a device made by Safecast, introducing Solarcast. It's what it's called.
Safecast is a group of citizen scientists that got together after Fukushima because there was no information being given out by TEPCO or the government on what the radiation levels were. So the citizens banded together and started building their own radiation monitoring devices and setting up a real-time map of these devices so people would know, because people have a right to know. You can't smell, you can't see, you can't taste this stuff. So if they leak, they don't really have to tell anybody because, no one really knows unless they have some kind of monitoring set up. So because of gentlemen like Sean Bonner starting things like Safecast and building thousands of these little GPS-enabled radiation detectors all over Japan and now Los Angeles and one here in my backyard, people are able to go and look at a website and see what the radiation levels are around them. And with mine, you even get to see a little bit more. You get to see what the air quality is like, parts per million of gook and that kind of thing. So
right.
It's pretty awesome what they're doing. I went searching for a radiation monitor that I could put on the internet to show levels. And when I called Fisher Scientific, they were, Mr. McClure, we're happy to talk to you today. That device will be $20,000. We really only build them with, fire departments and police departments. But, it was great talking to you today. Thank you. But, don't call us. We won't call you. So you can buy one of these Safecast kits for, $600 and build them yourself. I'm in the process of trying to build one now. Or you can buy one for $1,500 that's already built that can connect via Bluetooth to your phone. And you could be a citizen scientist. I would advise anybody living near a nuclear power plant to go to
you should set one of these networks up. Yeah.
And then start building one of these things. Know before it happens. They're not going to tell you. They waited 17 days to tell the people surrounding San Onofre that they had a radioactive leak. And then they always are hard on science. Well, the science was it was a small leak. Don't worry about it.
No, don't worry. Be happy. No.
You'll be fine.
Oh yeah. By the way, you can taste it, radioactivity, depending upon what the nuclide is. We think what we got over here first.
What it's carried with, what if it burned up with aluminum or whatever.
Yeah, I could taste it up here twice. There were two waves that came through here right after, within a week after the first explosion. It was iodine 131, but it came accompanied with other things. Anyway, I could taste it clearly. Very metallic taste.
The air was a weird orange color. The biggest radiation readings were in kelp in Corona del Mar. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, people don't understand. Kelp is like a sponge for radioactivity for some reason. It just sucks it up. It does.
Yeah.
What's your normal CPM there?
Our normal per minute. Let me see. What are we
around
doing
your home?
Real time monitoring. I have to look at what it is. Like
the next link you'll see, it says real time San Onofre.com//radiation. So what is your CPM?
Right now, and I'm trying to get to that map if I can get there. There's my...
You set this page up?
Between like 20 to 30
good.
clicks per minute, but we're looking at millisieverts. We're looking at like 0.1 millisieverts an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the the gauge is actually showing.
Well, that's pretty low. You want you much rather have 0.0 something, but 0.1 is I'd rather not, but could be a lot worse.
Millisieverts, not
right. It's tolerable for right now. Okay. So what we're looking at is a live read. It's a graph. How many people in your network down there?
Of just locals, it's 1,000 points of instigation. There's people like Gene Stone with Residents Organized for a Safe Environment, Gary Hendrick with San Clemente Green, Donna Gilmore with San Onofre Safety, Ace Hoffman who's videoing this stuff since day one. Everybody's kind of grabbing a different piece of the elephant. The people at Public Watchdogs, Nina and Charles, they're doing great work. We've kind of gotten to the point where the politicians won't listen.
Oh, of course not.
Nonprofits are going the wrong way. That
right.
We're kind of reaching out to prayer.
Right. That's okay.
We have to figure out a better way.
Yeah. How many people have the SafeCast devices set up now in your group, in your area?
In my group, it's me.
You're it?
And I'm it. I went and discovered this and brought it to the attention of the people in my area. I contacted SafeCast and made a personal appeal there. And luckily for me, Sean Bonner friended me up and said, "I've got one for you, Darin. You can come up and pick it up."
Well, see, that's the kind of attitude that is really heartwarming. That's nice.
Hey, everything, gratefulness is its own gravity. If you're having problems in the world, go to be grateful and just, watch things change.
Every day is a blessing. You bet.
Every day is a blessing. 3 miles north of a nuke dump and
you're living 3 miles from that horrible open air, essentially nuclear dump. God, I just can't. When I found out about this, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. 100 feet.
When Fukushima happened, NATO Khan, the president of Japan, wanted everybody within 190 miles to evacuate. Okay? Think about that dot on a map. It's, all the way to Ventura, all the way to Ensenada, all the way to the California border, out past San Clemente Island.
Sure. Yeah, that's a pretty good mental picture of it. Okay, you can see real time the San Onofre nuclear waste information. You can see the radiation monitoring graph right there. And
it's low, and we want to just keep that low.
That's a nice, comfortable range down there. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't start jumping.
It shows the health risk, so it's always there and under 0.02 on the graph on the right. Safe long-term habitation, normal levels. That's what we want to see.
0.02 millisieverts?
Yep.
Very good.
Less than 0.02, 0.15 right now, I think. Look at that.
Right, very good.
It takes me to the map. And once it takes you to the map, you can see you can zoom out and see everywhere around the world. The blue dots on the freeway is when they had a mobile device going by testing the levels. So that's some information. But check out the SafeCast site, and they're an amazing group. If any nuclear people in nuclear neighborhoods around the world, around the country, get hooked up with SafeCast. Get one for yourself in your neighborhood, so you know what's going on. So you could have a baseline.
Okay, that's safe, SAFE, cast, CAST.org, safecast.org. If you're anywhere near a nuke plant, look into this.
Absolutely.
All right, the last link we have to look at, San Onofre protest photos. What do we got here?
Well, one of the things we're doing is, it's really hard to make everybody want to dance to Armageddon, so we're out trying to give people hope and say, hey, there is a way. We're not going to go out and just scream, what's wrong. We want to tell everybody what our heaven is. We want to tell everybody that we need thick casts, not thin cans, that we need real-time monitoring that's publicly available, that we need a hot cell that, and everybody living within 200 miles of a radiation dump should be thinking these same things today. We're just there first because we got San Onofre shut down before everybody else did. This is a wave coming across the country. It's cheaper to put solar and wind out than it is to build these nuke plants. And the utilities know this, and they want to shut them down. There's 2 more that shut down in the news today. So,
oh really? Oh, good. You don't see that. That news is not prominent. I didn't know that. I usually see most everything. 2 more in the U.S. shut down.
Yeah, I'll flip you a link. I forget where that was. I posted it to Google Plus, which I've been playing on more lately.
Very good. By the way, no nuclear waste generating station has ever turned a penny profit. Nobody knows that either. You do. These things have always lost money. The customers have always gotten screwed. They end up paying billions of dollars in overcharge, extra costs, and you name it. These things are just death from A to Z.
From picking the uranium out of the earth and how it destroys the indigenous neighborhoods that comes out of,
right,
to where they want to put the waste for the next million years, give or take, a few hundred thousand, once a few hundred thousand amongst friends.
The next time someone asks you to stop a toll road, ask them to show up and stop a nuclear dump.
Yeah, well, one of the nonprofits around here for a long time was telling everybody to stop a toll road. They're no longer saying anything like that. They want to get their money from the last settlement they had. You know, they're big on telling everybody about stopping plastics now. And they'll remain nameless just because I've got enough people hating on me. So, you know, speaking truth to power, you know, you want to know who you can't, just see who you can't talk about.
Right.
What's that? What was that term?
It's nice to see these pictures of people out who care. I wish there were thousands of them, not a couple dozen. There should be thousands.
There was a couple hundred people there. That was a pretty big event.
I see some of the pictures. That's good. It should be thousands, though. There
should be thousands.
Can this stuff?
We're talking to thousands right here. So let's, everybody out there get motivated.
Oh yeah. Could this theoretically, Darin, go off to Yucca Mountain?
Yucca Mountain's a bad thing. We really want to put our nuclear waste over an aquifer where we have to put titanium hoods on it to keep the water from dripping onto the nuke waste. It was a bad idea to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the opinion that this stuff is so deadly we need to, figure out a way to make it inert and probably keep it in some place where we can keep an eye on it.
Right.
Where we could protect it. Trying to bury it someplace.
No. I concur. How many total tons of this crap is there laying around in the U.S. now? Do you know? I mean, I know it's.
I wish
it's a figure.
I know I could have had that number for you, but I'm going to fail this test tonight.
No, you're not failing anything. It's an ungodly number. It's huge, and do remember that the wrecked, destroyed Fukushima nuclear plant is the gift that keeps on giving and will never stop. 500 metric tons of liquid death, water goes into the Pacific every single day for 7+ years now. No one talks about it. I've studied the ocean currents, the air currents. I know pretty much where it's all going. So do you, and so do most of the people listening who care. No one's talking about it. Your local TV newscast ought to have a nightly radioactive reading report. They should update people on this all the time, but they don't. Not going to happen.
Mainstream media is too busy trying to make everybody afraid of one another, okay? Everybody just stop.
Oh, yeah.
We're all brothers and sisters here in this together. It's not a white or a black thing or Democrat or Republican thing. This is a human thing.
It's a people thing. But
it's a people thing.
Trying to get that word out is not easy. I really honor what you're doing, and I hope maybe some people listening tonight who live in your area or any area will think about Safecast, S-A-F-E, Safecast, C-A-S-T.org, and look into getting a monitoring device. and let your local nuclear power monger know that you care and you're monitoring what they're doing. They dump stuff all the time.
We call them nuke huggers.
Huh?
You know, they're the ones that think plutonium should go on their cornflakes. You know, they're the ones that are exporting food from Fukushima. Okay, the nuke huggers should eat it themselves.
Yeah. Speaking of cornflakes, they're all GMO, so don't eat cornflakes either.
Yeah, too much glycosulfine or whatever.
Glyphosate.
I would implore. Yeah, that's what it was. I would implore your listeners, if they feel like helping out in this cause, to go to sanonofre.com and clicking on how you can help. We're trying to get enough donations to build enough of these radiation monitors, so it's not just the one that Sean has loaned me. We'd like to put one on all four corners of the San Onofre nuclear medical waste site.
Right.
So that no matter which way the wind blows, we
really
can get a little bit of an
sickening.
advance.
Having it requalify and renamed an official nuclear medical waste site it just keeps getting more outrageous all the time.
And then to start rushing this waste into these cans as soon as that occurred. And then the first four of them, you know, hey, you know, they're screwed up. We're not really sure how screwed up. We can't fix them. We can't repair them. We can't inspect them. But we're going to make more of these now. We're going to continue moving on. They need to stop. Their permit needs to be rescinded.
Now take a look at photo under Darin's name and you'll see it. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Darin, a salute. Congratulations to you and all of your friends and others who care about this wherever you are, not only even in this country but around the world. This is a worldwide problem. There are 450, I think, reactors around the world, 103 here in this country, and they've all got to be shut down, stopped. Then we have to figure out a way to transmute this death into something that is essentially innocuous. Hard to do, but we can do it if we only turned our attention to the important things. Darin, thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Great talking with you tonight. Thank you for all your listeners.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Good night. Darin McClure. Okay? Back with more.